Let's talk about social division.
I will look into the eyes of every voter right now and say Brad is evil and accepts human sacrifice so that you can have a cheap iPhone.
Fuck the dude, the firefighter guy, fuck Trump, fuck the people that support him. If one of you were in the crowd and you're a conservative fan of mine and you end up, getting blown away or whatever the fuck, I'm making fun of you the next day on Twitter.
But with Hillary, there's not even the same universe. I mean, she is an abject, psychopathic demon from hell that as soon as she gets into power is going to try to destroy the planet.
Isn't that how he lost his fucking dumbass eye? Because he got his fucking eye hole fucked?
And all I have to say to those people is, you're gonna catch more flies with sugar than vinegar, baby. Fully anecdotal, I know, but in my personal life, people seem to be getting more and more divided and extreme. As the divide grows, people seem less and less willing to engage with others that they now see as the enemy. So why do I think this is happening? Well, the information that we have easy access to is a wild cacophony of noise. The more we hear something, the more likely we are to believe that it's true. And if we hear something that fits our worldview, we implicitly trust it to some extent. And if we hear it a few more times, well, take me to church, that shit is gospel. You may know something, but trust and believe that someone else has read 12 articles that say the opposite. Approaching conversation with humility, an open mind, the fact that maybe you could be wrong? No, say that shit with your full chest. You're the first person in 2025 to see reality for what it really is. They can't get one over on you. Another issue seems to stem from the fact that we don't really share the same fundamental principles, and we prioritize things differently. Obviously, what we care about most can lead people to different opinions. One thing I frequently emphasize on my channel is that we need to have patience with each other when debating these hot-button issues. I am determined to see the best in people, even with wildly different opinions. This is all too general and vague. I need something to illustrate my point. Maybe something on this app will inspire me.
I mean, good things come out of this USAID. Some things we do is we still trying to figure out why do we drive on parkways and park on driveways.
Perfect. Let's talk about USAID. Before we do, let's see where people stand to kind of see how dramatically different people's opinions can be.
USAID, a program which helps hungry and sick children all over the world, the poorest people in the world. That's what the richest guy in the world is doing.
The fact is that what the left has done with so many institutions, and USAID is just one of them, is taken the original purpose of the institution and then gutted it and worn the face around like Hannibal Lecter.
As you can see, there are many different narratives out there. You can certainly find a bunch of talking heads online who will spin the perfect story to fit your worldview. Hell, you and someone else with the opposite opinion may have both read the same page, and it was changed between readings. Let's find a good example of that. Specifically, Wikipedia. Now, I understand Wikipedia is constantly updating, and some of these updates make total sense. The Trump administration has made a lot of allegations, and these should at least be noted somewhere on the page. But things that happened like 30 years ago, they should probably stay the same. But, no. Well, to illustrate my point, let's look at the section about Peru's forced sterilizations. So before Doge and the Trump administration made all their allegations, this section left me with the impression that USAID was aware and possibly involved with the forced sterilization of 300,000 people. After all, quote, these sterilizations were part of a global strategy by the United States government to reduce birth rates in developing countries for political and economic stability. And, quote, it was concluded that it would be virtually inconceivable for these sterilization abuses to have occurred systematically without the knowledge of USAID administrators in Peru and in Washington. But after Doge started digging, well, that 300,000 number is simply gone, and now it ends with a very different tone. In 1998, quote, the subcommittee concluded that USAID's funding had not supported the abuses committed by the Peruvian government. People critical of USAID's involvement are now labeled far-right in this section, and the term far-right wasn't anywhere on this page previously. Stabilization or strategic targeting of minorities in a eugenics-driven effort to wipe out the undesirables. I guess it is up to the eye of the beholder. I find it odd that these changes were made now, when this all seems to have been wrapped up a long time ago. But conspiracy theories aside, my main point is two people could walk away with immensely different opinions because they read the same article just days apart. To my second point, good people can come to different conclusions based on how they weigh things. Good people can have different principles or priorities. Look, the truth is USAID is a 60-year-old institution with a colorful past, involvement in many projects, and whether it's good outweighs its bad is a question that can only be answered when compared to your morals and principles. It has a $50 billion budget, so how much bloat would make you say shut it all down? And if reform is the name of the game, how much good does an institution like this have to do to earn a $50 billion budget? Should USAID only provide the most basic and universal needs such as food? Should US tax money stay here until we solve our own homeless and poverty? All the answers to these questions require you to evaluate your principles and your priorities, but they don't necessarily determine your morality. Millions and billions, that's kind of hard to imagine. So here's a visualization. These are some highlighted expenditures listed by the Daily Mail that Doge has gone after. Here's the whole USAID budget. This is how much Doge has claimed to cut away from various federal programs and organizations. Here's the yearly deficit. And finally, the national debt. Oh, that's depressing. Doge has only dented the unfathomable amount of spending the government does, but then again, they've just started. Basically, these things got a lot of people's panties in a twist, and I just wanted to see how big they were in comparison to the budget of USAID and the overall debt. Look, my point is that people are busy. They're not full-time internet sleuths. They could have made an honest effort to educate themselves on this and many other topics and come to a very different conclusion when they weigh the information they learn with their own principles and priorities. So when you let me or someone else know that you don't know what you're talking about, step back in humility and realize that there are honest people who have been lied to, or maybe you've been lied to. Whatever the case, I say spread knowledge with love and patience, and to anyone watching this, what is the best or worst thing you've heard that USAID has done? Educate me. I'm honestly interested, and it could inform my opinion if I make another video with a more hard-line stance about USAID. Is USAID a gentle, nurturing version of colonialism, or a necessary component of foreign aid?